What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to love better, live better, do better, vacation better, just be kinder to each other every damn day of their lives. It is good to be back. Jason, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Let me ask you, what are you doing with this Couch in the Rube account?
What do you mean?
What am I doing? You're using it as like your own personal, like, I can just get away with whatever I want on this thing. Like, you're just posting pictures of you throwing a weird football? I mean, what's happening here? Is it like your alt account that you feel like you can just use the Couch in the Rube one? And I'm a part of the show. I mean, like, I'm not saying I have to be on it, but I mean, like, dude, can we talk about it first?
If you send me more photos of yourself, I'll post more photos of you. How about that? Do you want that?
No, I don't want that. But I'm just saying, man, it's like
the only photos I have of you are like live things we've done.
Your likes. I mean, geez, oh, Pete.
The things we've done at Front 43, like in wearing Christmas pajamas and things like that, like they're not flattering photos of the two of us, but I can post them if you'd like.
No, that's fine. Yeah, okay. We don't have to like turn back the clock like Facebook memories. I'm just wondering. I'm like going through my feed and I see Couch the Rube and like you're doing some Roger Staubach kind of pose, like in wherever you were.
Just thought it was fun. I was in Marquette. It was at the Uperdome. It was up,
Yeah, I saw you in Quinn 69 about your shirts.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Dripping wet with 69 weirdness.
You have a good break,
guys? Yeah. It was fun, nice and relaxing. Great to come back and be back here with some hot takes.
Definitely hot takes
on a Sunday. Carmen Electra's hot. I got to say, I don't really have that many from the past 2 weeks, Graham. It was really nice and relaxing, and being able to get away for a little bit. It was really nice. I forget like 2 weeks ago what was going on.
Well, I feel like it was weird because just as we were doing this, the Big Ten realignment was happening. So that gives you something, you know. And there's been some summer league stuff, some
big summer league,
huge summer
big
league
time,
so
wall to wall coverage.
There are things, and there are things to get into. I think I've had worse hot takes than the three I have today.
Free Ubers,
okay.
And so
I mean that's not saying a lot though.
It's not.
There's been a couple shows where we've been like, woof.
And usually one of them after a golf tournament is I'm never going to bet golf again.
You just stole my first one.
Well, yeah, and so so anyway, I'll that's not one of mine. But
I know.
Do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first? All right. So I was trying to figure out. I couldn't even remember if we did a show after Big Ten expansion.
We did.
What's that?
I think we did.
We did that Saturday, right before we were off. We did one show, but I haven't had a ton of time to react to it, and I've been thinking more about it in the last 2 weeks. Every second on the beach, every second, eating a giant meal. Been thinking about the Big Ten expansion. No, but the more I think about it, the more I like the Big Ten at 16 teams and pausing at 16 for a little bit. I kind of hope it stays this way.
Not happening.
Probably not, but I'm glad there wasn't rapid movement with Oregon or Washington or anything like that, because adding the two out west teams, USC and UCLA, doesn't completely like diminish the fabric and feel of the conference, right? Even if the regional fit is off. It's sort of like when Maryland and Rutgers joined. They don't really fit, but they aren't enough by themselves to destroy what is the Big Ten. You have the two out east now, the two out west. That creates an interesting road trip for alumni and for students, athletes, and good experiences there, recruiting opportunities, all that stuff. But it doesn't overwhelm the league, right? The crux of the league is still the league we know, the Big Ten we know. And if you add Oregon and, say, Washington to it, that changes the character of it. That changes the dynamic. It just feels like too much. And maybe eventually we'll get there, because if you added everything that's been added to the league since it was 10, with Penn State, Nebraska, Maryland, Rutgers, now USC and UCLA, and dumped that on a Big Ten fan 25 years ago, people would have gone, well, that's too much. So maybe we'll get there in increments. Like, to me, Notre Dame is different. And if Stanford or, say, Pitt, if something happened with the ACC, that would make sense. That then you maybe start to look to expand again, and maybe you get to 20 or whatever. I don't know. But I think right now you're good. Financially, you're likely to get $100 million annually in TV money for every school. And market-wise, you've now got L.A., right? You've got L.A. better than you have New York and D.C. in a lot of ways with UCLA and USC. So you're set until Notre Dame says, yes, that's the next move. Unless the ACC dissolves and there are other discussions with Pitt and other things like that.
How long does Notre Dame have to figure it out, though?
As long as you don't need to move. Like, you're good at 16. Because with $100 million in TV revenue, with USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State, this isn't a league that's going to be left behind. Like, there's nothing that anybody else can do. There's nothing that the SEC can do, that the ACC can do, that anybody can join that diminishes what the Big Ten has brand-wise. USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, I mean, there's enough there. The Big Ten is safe. Plus, it's 16 from a football standpoint. There are some really good scheduling options even without divisions, like with one or two protected rivals and 7 or 8 other opponents that lets you kind of cycle through the entire league in 2 years. So you're playing everybody a lot. You're always playing one of the LA schools in football. Every other year you're in Los Angeles. 16 feels like an okay number. Like, to me, it feels like something you can still get your arms around. You're still a league. And I'm not saying that someday we won't feel that way about 20, and someday we won't say, boy, Oregon and Washington were nice additions. But I don't know that they are great fits. I don't know that making your students and your athletes travel like that much more to the West Coast right away makes a whole lot of sense when people aren't used to this at all.
So do you wait on Notre Dame then to come to the Big Ten?
I mean, you want
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame.
Notre Dame. Like, how does that handled?
I would approach Notre Dame because you got television negotiations happening right now, and I believe they do too with NBC. Like, this is a good summer to have these discussions, but I wouldn't worry about it if it doesn't happen. I think you're good right now. You're great, and they're going to have scheduling issues as it is now with USC and the Big Ten. Like, that's going to have to be another game that USC was in the Pac-12 and they worked around it before, but I don't know. To me, that is a I like it at 16. I think it's okay right now. I like the 2 West with the 2 East, but the fabric of the league, the crux of the league is still what the league is has been for a long time, and it'll still have a lot of that feel to it, and you'll have sort of the 2 out West schools, and that's okay. Because ideally, if you're going to go beyond this, it would be Notre Dame and Stanford, or Notre Dame and, say, Pitt, which would be a fit in every sense. A rival for Penn State. Geographically, it fits. It fits now as an AAU institution. There are all sorts of reasons. It's a school that plays Notre Dame, too. Like, Notre Dame and Pitt be a great tandem. That would take a lot of things happening in the ACC. But I'm saying I wouldn't be in a rush to feel like you need to do anything if you're the Big Ten. Just be good with this for a bit. And if in 2024, if it's just the 2 LA schools that come aboard, I think that's plenty. That's fine. That's sort of where I've come to this during 2 weeks. And you can only imagine how excited my wife was to hear me talk about this in dinner conversations on vacation.
Was she sleeping during the whole thing?
Yeah, I never brought this. So I think I brought up expansion like once to her, explaining her to it, and I'm not quite sure
What's
how
he saying?
Right. She tuned me out very, 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 very quickly. It was that was
like when she talks about Girls 5 Eva. Oh, wait a minute, you watched that, so never mind. I can't really use one.
Correct. All right, what's your first hot take?
Gambling on golf is ass.
Yeah.
I'm never going to financially recover from this.
The British Open, Graham, was great. I know you sprinkled a little bit as well as I did today, but Rory McIlroy will forever look back at this. I mean, this was supposed to be the passing of the torch. Tiger Woods walking off 18, passing Rory just like he did with Arnold or Jack Nicklaus, tip of the cap going off, and then you win the tournament, right? 150th of one of these things. Do you like this tournament?
Yeah,
right?
I do.
The
I like
course and everything. I mean, it's kind of weird watching him drive par 4s. It's fun, the links course, the bunkers and all that, but Rory he's gonna regret this one because all he had to do was shoot a 68 or a 69 to go into a playoff.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he choked. I mean, he had a lot.
He choked. He missed a lot of putts, man.
Yeah, some bad luck ones too. And I thought they were decent putts. And you had a couple great performances that came up and clipped him. That's
Cam Smith. I mean, the Aussie. Oh, no. Sorry about your gambling bet, boys. Oh, no.
It was.
The rat tail is back.
I had Hovland, by the way.
Ooh,
not great going in because there were good
I had
odds
Cam
on him.
Young.
Yeah, jeez.
Who eagled
Right.
18 and still lost by a stroke. But anyway, I just felt bad. Everyone there was rooting for Rory. A lot of people in the United States were rooting for Rory. I was, because I'm a big fan of his after the comments that he made about the Live Tour and all that stuff. So good for Rory for competing today, but man, that's going to chap his ass for decades to come, though.
And I am frankly, I have to be done at this point because I mean I just lost
fun,
I lost everything I lost everything I bet on this thing.
It takes your soul, though.
It just crushes you. And then I'm trying to make it back. I was watching. It was who was it? Bolivia versus Chile in women's soccer today, and I was betting that live and actually won. But I was trying to make it back. I was trying to win it back, and I was pissed off at the whole golf thing. And I love that course. Like, I've been to St. Andrews. I've been on that course. You know, I was there like 2 weeks after the '95 British Open when John Daly won it. I was there at a choir school when I was 15 years old. Naturally,
oh, shit,
yeah, right.
How was that? There's got to be a good story or two from there worth telling.
The worst thing about that is I had gone through a really rough voice change. So I went to St. Paul's Episcopal Church in downtown Lansing growing up. Good children's choir, was known for its children's choir and the choir director there. Every 4 years, they took the high school choir to England. They'd spend 2 weeks touring, and then they'd drop them off at a choir school somewhere in Great Britain, and the chaperones would go off and have fun for a week. And this particular year that I went, it was the summer before my junior year in high school, it was in St. Andrews, the choir school, which was otherwise first time I got drunk, by the way, because the drinking age is 16 with a meal, 18 overall. There were 18-year-old, like, cute Scottish girls in the school.
We got a stupid-looking face.
We got drunk on the beaches of St. Andrews at age 15. We sang at night services drunk. It was, but my voice
at 15.
At 15, my voice. Well, for me, some of them were older, but my voice sucked at this age. Like, I was a really good high voice treble as a kid, as a singer, and then went through an awful voice change for several years until I became this great bass. Anyway, so
I like donuts.
Yeah, so when I look at that course, it brings me back to 1995 and being there, teaching the Scottish kids how to play American football, the rugby ball, and all the fun that we had. That is a story, as usual, almost worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. If you haven't written down the address by now, an outstanding place for brunch on the weekends, a drink after work, lunch with a colleague, dinner date. I'm telling you, fantastic menu and drink selection. The American Stout is my favorite drink there. And if you go to midtownbrewing.net, you can check out their full menu and drink menu.
A drunk 15-year-old couch?
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, my God.
This is why so many people aren't allowed to listen to the show, because there are people who to this day who helped fund that trip, like who raised us in that church and everything, that would be offended by that knowledge.
And by the way, the reporters afterwards that were asking Cam Smith after he just won the 150th British Open about going to live, and there was rumors about that, can you just let the guy celebrate after and maybe ask the live questions at the next tournament or a day after, something like that? It's just ridiculous.
It did. You know, I'm usually one about if there's a story or there are rumors, you have to address it. But
right after,
right? It is the oldest, greatest. You know, well, I think the Masters is a bigger deal in a lot of ways, but it is as big a deal as any tournament that exists, and it's a huge deal for him. And yeah, no doubt, let the man revel in that. But frankly, that's the problem with the whole. That's the situation they're in right now. They have this divided, not tour. It's two tours, but they have the circuit is divided, so to speak. So you're going to have that. It's a story. All right, my second hot take. Pierre Brooks. Anybody who's been going to Moneyball has been watching this guy have a hell of a summer, right? And we all know about Moneyball and how it translates. Pierre Brooks is going to test the Moneyball theory, and I more than A.J. Hogarth's jump shot, because we've had good shooting performances that didn't carry over from Moneyball to the MSU basketball season. Tum Tum famously, early on, Matt McQuaid looked like Steph Curry for a couple games out there before his freshman year. And we'll see about Hogarth's shot. But we've never seen takeover performances there consistently that didn't carry over to some degree. That doesn't mean you're a superstar. Like Miles Bridges and Nick Ward, they were legit standouts after taking over at Moneyball, right? When Nick Ward was putting up 61 at Moneyball, he was a really good player for MSU. And so I'm very curious about Brooks. There is an air about him right now. There's a confidence to him. Like, I want to know what that looks like this fall. I'm curious. And so I want to set sort of an over-under, because this is my best guess right now. 17 to 18 minutes, 7.5 points, with several bigger games in double digits where he goes, hitting more than one three-pointer a game on average, like 1.3 or whatever. That's where I'd set the over-unders. But I wouldn't be confident going either way. But if he is what I'm setting the over-under at, if he's 17, 18 minutes a game, 7.5 points, hitting, more than 1-3 a game, shooting upper 30s, low 40s from three, that's a huge boost for MSU. That is a huge boost. And that's reasonable to think could happen. And that would be reasonable to think, based on what we're seeing at Moneyball, could happen. If he's less than that, stop going to Moneyball. Because I'm not saying stop going to Moneyball, and I don't mean that, Desmond. I don't mean that, Desmond. But if he's less, I did say it. If he's less than that, though, there's absolutely, you can be a superstar at Moneyball and have zero carryover.
But like you mentioned, what kind of swagger was there? Because that Michigan State team needed a little bit of swagger, right? Like, there's no problem with that. I like seeing those kind of things instead of stat sheets. Like, how are guys acting?
No doubt.
Right?
And it's also the shape he's gotten himself in. Like, here's a guy who's taken his, what he was physically, and he's also very self-aware. So I'm very curious to see, like, last year he understood that he was a bit of a knucklehead early on. And he understood that even during the season. But it's hard during the season to really change your role, change who you are to a team, and get in the absolute perfect shape when you're not playing a ton. And, what he did was 3 weeks of an extreme diet and lost 20 pounds. The type of thing you can't do during a season. And, we'll see
if he thing your wife roots for?
Yeah, every day. We'll see if he keeps the weight off.
Did you ask Pierre about it? What'd you do to lose 20 pounds?
I actually did. I can give you I know exactly what he did. He ate, like, I don't think he understands calorie math perfectly, because what he described doesn't add up to the under 1,000 calories he was describing. But here's a guy who's probably having 1,400 calories a day, if that, working out 5 or 6 times a day for 3 weeks at home. And
sounds awful.
When you're 19, 20 years old, the weight slides off you. When you're 42, you're fucked, right? It's different. All right, what is your second hot take?
Buenos tardes.
Might as well get to these guys.
The Detroit Tigers gambling update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
Well, the Tigers are off till Thursday because they got rained out today, Graham. I'm happy about that. But the real question is, should A.J. Hinch be on the hot seat? Where are we at with A.J. Hinch? Is everyone happy with A.J. Hinch? I don't really get that strong sense from Tiger fans. There was that whole romantic period where he signed with the Tigers and everything, but I just don't know where Tiger fans are at, and I think it would be okay if he is on the hot seat. Right?
I would like to see maybe a hitting coach change or something. I'd like to see a GM change.
7 years into a fucking rebuild, and Miggy Cabrera and Soto are your all-stars. Fat Miggy Cabrera.
And so there's right now, I think it is absolutely okay to fire Avila. And it's not just because they kind of suck right now. It's how they suck. If they were...
Wait, hold on. It's okay now?
Well, what I mean is, if they were they've had a lot of injuries to the pitching staff, right? And so if they were hitting okay, but the reason this season was going south is...
Yeah, but it's about the returns that he got on some of those guys watching Verlander.
It's not just that. It's that he put this lineup together. Guys he drafted, guys he signed, guys he re-signed, as a lineup he thought was ready to compete for something, and it clearly isn't. This lineup is on him. And it's the lineup that's the problem. The pitching staff's been okay despite, they obviously the blow up the other day and the injuries are catching up in a few. But the pitching staff is not the issue. If you had an average major league lineup, this would be a 500 team. right? I mean,
But people ask, well, what did you expect out of the season? I expected what the Orioles are doing right now.
Yeah.
Is this giving us some hope? And we don't have any hope currently, and we're at the All-Star break of this Year 7 rebuild. And I think if Chris Ilitch, as an owner, would be more transparent and say, this is what I'm going to spend. Here's how much money I would make if I spent this amount of money. Be transparent. Let the fans know how much you can spend so you're not tossing money away. I mean, we're fine with that. But if you're just going to sit there and not spend – and you think you're going to get Soto, which was the best. Tony Dombrowski saying that everyone but Riley Green is free to trade. Like the Nationals are going to go, okay, deal. But they're never going to pay $45-50 million a year.
No, and if you want to, if you're a Major League Baseball owner and you are not going to spend what's clearly a lot of money, and there's no salary cap, so you should be able to, then you need to, and you're going to claim that you don't want to lose money. That's okay. I don't expect people to lose money. But you better open your books a little bit. Because if you show what you're making and what the returns are, and it's like, and the world can see that, hey, you're not drawing that well, or this isn't happening, and if you have a payroll over $210 million, you'll be in the red, then we all get it.
Yeah.
Then spend the $210 to try to build something, but that's it.
And how many ever games you're under 500, that's the discount on concessions and tickets. If you're 22 games under 500, 22% off everything.
But what I'm saying is, or make the fans involved. If you're not going to lower ticket prices, if you're not going to lower concessions, say to them, look, if people show up, if we do this, if we build this, if we can get to this revenue point this year, we will put it all back into the team.
Right.
Make us part of it, and we'll start. Make us.
We understand that ownership needs to make money. They're in it to make money. We get it. But if you're not going to spend. You're trying to make $50 million a year, then tell us so we don't have to invest ourselves into this baseball team.
Sell the team. You got to. I mean, nobody.
But if you're making $50 million a year, why would you ever sell the team? You take the heat for not spending money. And by the way, I think it was after we left, Peacock, I believe, did a game with no broadcasters for the Tigers game, right? Did you like it or did you? I'm guessing you didn't like it.
It was jarring. I mean, I watched it. I don't like these. Like I have.
Did it make you yearn for Shep and?
I have Peacock. I have all these streaming services, so I don't mind. But I hate it for people who can't watch the games, who build their day around it. You put it on Bally's? It's on Bally's.
If you build your day around it, find it.
It's on Peacock. If you don't have Peacock,
then go to the bar.
Not everybody can afford to do that.
If you're that into it, all right.
For some people, it's inexpensive entertainment.
You're just describing like the 0.004% of people that are really diehards. That.
By the way, Peacock's worth it. It's cool. All right. My third hot take, staying with Pierre Brooks.
2 takes for Pierre Brooks.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
It is July, baby.
Absolutely. It was either that or,
Listen, guys, it's time for Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame. Am I right? Give us a call.
It's very likely that by the time Pierre Brooks and Jaden Akins are done at MSU, that they both had better careers than Max Christie. Am I right? Possibly.
You ain't wrong.
All right, there we go. Which leads me to this. On another podcast, Brendan Quinn and Dylan Burkhart's The Moving Screen. Shout out to my 69 partner, Brendan Quinn. They raised the question whether it's worth recruiting guys like Christie or Michigan's Caleb Houston or Diabate, guys who see themselves as one-and-dones and really only give you a heavy development year, whether it's worth recruiting them at all when winning in college basketball takes trying to get old, right? And I thought it was an interesting discussion. And I started to think about that a little bit. Again, conversations with my wife that she loved over vacation. And I'd argue that you still want to go after those guys, because what you ultimately want is blended classes in terms of the level of recruit and when they give you their best years. Like Christie Akins Brooks might wind up being that type of group where you have one guy. Like Brooks wasn't ready to contribute as a freshman. Akins was able to give you something. Christie was actually more ready than those guys, and even though he wasn't the shooter that people hoped he was a pretty decent defender and guarded other teams' best defenders, and I don't know if you make the NCAA tournament without him. Would have been a different team, and maybe it would have happened, but you can argue they lose the Butler game. You can argue they don't. The Miles Bridges, Josh Langford, Nick Ward, Cassius Winston class is the best example of this, right? Bridges is a ready-to-go impact guy, even if his game, wasn't perfect. And But going back, Bridges was the headliner, an early standout, but Winston becomes the legend. And Ward and Langford have careers in between. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Xavier Tillman, much the same way. Jackson's the early lottery pick and the athletic freak and an impact player on one end, but he's a developmental guy. You get his developmental year. Tillman becomes the best defensive big man in the country as a junior and was a critical piece in the Final Four run the year before that. Blended class. Those are what you want to keep chasing. You want to keep going after that. You can't go after too many of the top guys at once, too many guys who think they're one and dones, because that's not how you build a program. What you don't want, obviously, is 2018 when all the guys are ranked below the top 60 and none of them ever blossom and none of them are good enough to give you anything right away. But the blended class, for all the criticism of Max Christie and what he was, because he did fall short of, I think, what expectations were. And here's a guy who, look, he got a decent NBA contract, 2 guaranteed years, like $4 million, whatever it was. He got several $1 million, a couple of years guaranteed. It's with the Lakers. His life ain't bad. It's not like he made a really bad choice there. You didn't get a ton out of him at MSU, but he did help you make the NCAA tournament. He did give you some recruiting oomph, and I still think it's worth going after those guys, even if they don't always.
What's the recruiting oomph?
Well, there's certainly, but you land Max Christie, a Chicagoland guy who Duke wanted. Those were all big deal things that you'd never done before.
All right.
And so I think there's still value in that. And some of these guys wind up being Miles Bridges. They wind up being even more ready than Max Christie. You don't know when that guy's going to be there. Some of these guys wind up being Suggs out at Gonzaga. So there are sometimes they are more ready. So and you never know when you're going to get that either. But I think you do need to focus on the blended class, guys who can develop into stars, guys who are development guys, and guys who are you're hoping can give you something, even if they're there a short time. You still got to recruit those guys. What is your third hot take?
Did you watch Wimbledon?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Joker versus. Now, how do you say this dude's name? Kyrgios, right? Kyrgios. Nick Kyrgios.
I pronounce it wrong, actually. So I want to see if I can.
Kyrgios.
Yeah, no. I've been pronouncing it wrong forever, and I just heard it right because I always said Kyrgios. But it's not that technically, but we'll call it
Kyrgios.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Anyway, I was watching Wimbledon, and it was actually absolutely fascinating. I was trying to figure out whether or not I kind of like Kyrgios' shtick, the big Aussie. I don't know what we should call him if we're just going to keep getting his name wrong. But you know what I mean? Like I love, we all grew up watching John McEnroe and stuff, but him berating his crew, like every time that he felt that they weren't cheering loud enough for him was bizarre to me. It was must-see TV for me, though. So I don't know if it's a good thing for tennis or a bad thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing for tennis. It's a bad thing for him if he can't control his emotions. Like there was a point where he had no shot to win that because he was in his own head.
Right.
And
he's a hell of a player.
Djokovic, yeah, he's unbelievable talent. And he needs to be able to just use that to motivate himself, to keep himself fired up. But he needs to, like McEnroe used to go berserk. And McEnroe was obviously in the booth, and
he was really bad.
And even Connors used to do the same. Those are the guys I was sort of raised on in my introduction to tennis. And so I love that stuff. You had these really entertaining, and then, Agassi was entertaining coming up. You had guys who were entertaining players to watch, entertaining personalities.
Different era, though. Now, everyone's looking at the younger generation as already whiners.
What
they want to watch it. I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with what he does. The problem is it costs him on the court.
Right.
You have to stop.
But it also what keeps him going and makes him a good player, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe helps
with him.
and hurts him.
Maybe you've got to understand when
Djokovic is just a robot.
Look, I played tennis at a decent level in high school, right? And the thing I learned about playing players who are even better than me is, and I played against some real head cases too, guys who were just court club kids, brats, and all that stuff. And some of them would just. Some of these kids it's such a mentally tough sport because you don't have a teammate, you don't have anything else. You're on your own, and if you start to melt down out there, I lost 13 consecutive matches at one singles to end my junior year. I had no answers. I wanted to quit the sport, and I had a good senior year, but it was like I had to get out of my own head. When you're in your head, and that's what happened to Kyrgios late. I understand that's his shtick, but that's not how you're never going to beat Djokovic doing that. But you see the talent. He's incredible. He's fun to watch. Absolutely.
Now, is it a gambling problem if you bet on someone that you don't know how to pronounce their last name?
No, I bet on him too. I was hoping at one point
it was
in the
the
match,
only value in that match, and I wanted a little juice.
Totally. I was.
Anyway, I
okay
enjoy him.
that.
I think I'm going to watch. In the future, though.
There you go. There's a reason.
I
to
just
watch
was wondering if people, gravitated towards it because, like I did. I mean, honestly, if anyone else would have been in that, maybe Nadal, I would have still tuned in. But I mean, with his antics and stuff, you want to tune in and kind of see that. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Right?
You know what Kyrgios needs? Skymint.
That's true.
I mean,
figure out his name on Skymint.
Right there, that's a guy who could use it. Skymint, by the way, has some unbelievable deals going on this summer on edibles, vapes, flour, extracts, all sorts of good deals going on right now. Go to skymint.com. They've got them all listed right there. You can also find out location information. Chances are you live within a short drive of a Skymint. There are 3 in the Lansing area alone. You can sign up there, get in their point system, get free bonus cash when you register friends. And it's just, look, they treat you well. And you don't need to be the Joe Ingles of weed like Jason over here to feel comfortable and to feel like you can get your questions asked. And whether it's pain management or, just want to relax.
Just want to get high.
Just want to get high.
Enjoy a lot of things on vacation.
There were a few things, there were some Skymint nights.
Oh,
Skymint nights at the lake on vacation for absolutely sure. And it improved the night. And plus, when we were staying with like multiple families.
Get them high too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because by like night 4, you're not used to living with the same people. It's a little real world-ish, A little Skymint can make everybody a lot friendlier and a lot happier. All right, we will take a really quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into your hot takes, some outstanding stuff. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
I wish I would have met you.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis. It is time now to dig into your hot takes. Jason, you ready?
Yeah, man, let's do it. Eric Schultz up first. Number 1, I love tailgating, but the new tailgate times for MSU football are ass. Part of the reward for having a 3:30 kickoff is that I don't have to get up at the ass crack of dawn to secure our tailgate spot. I like the earlier start for night games, though. 2, for someone who says you can't trust what you see at Moneyball, Graham sure seems to trust what he sees at Moneyball. And 3, I love the energy that the students bring, but downtown EL is still pretty damn nice in the summer when they're all gone.
It's outstanding. I mean, the best thing about East Lansing is that
you can say that about anywhere, though, when students are gone, though, right?
Yeah, but other than the fall, which I love the fall in this area, but in a lot of ways, we get the best months getting facilities that were built and restaurants that were built because of them without them. It's just great. It's
sad employees working.
It's absolutely true. To the tailgating point, though, so one of the things that came out, and I can't remember if it was just before we went on vacation or right after, is the new, and obviously they're also working toward. There's going to be a state bill in the legislature to try to allow alcohol in Michigan Stadium and Spartan Stadium, and if that happens, I think pretty quickly Michigan State will allow alcohol in Spartan Stadium. I would expect that by 2023, and we can talk about that at some point too. But the tailgating rules for this year, a lot of people have complained about how strict it is, and there wasn't enough time to tailgate. This is the first pushback I've seen on that, which is interesting. And people have wanted to have the party all day and to be able to get there earlier. They're going to be able to start, I think, at 11 a.m. now. I'm not a tailgater. I've never been a tailgater. Even when I went to MSU football games as a kid, we just didn't know people tailgated that much. That wasn't part of our family. We didn't have tickets that often until later, and so
you missed out.
I did, yeah. And then you cover it. And so I've been around some tailgates, when I run into friends on the road and stuff. But I get that though too. And I guess, do you have to get there? I guess you have to secure your tailgate spot. So
yeah, right. I mean,
that sucks.
They don't hold a spot for you, do they?
Yeah, no. And
first come, first serve.
I know a lot of people like the 3:30 games because it feels like you still have your morning. And like if you get
Screw your morning, it's football season.
If you get a noon game,
going on?
It seems to take the whole day anyway. Yeah, no.
Gotta go to a cider mill. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
how many of these do we get a season?
It's very true.
Right. Dominic up next. Number one, if you really appreciated me, you wouldn't bail on me all fucking summer. You know how many Ebling hypotheticals I had to listen to? Ask me. 46 of them, Graham. Like, if you could undo 9/11, but it meant Peyton Thorne's season stats would be 9 TDs and 11 picks, what would you say?
Dominic.
That's accurate. 2, if I had permission to pull a 2009 Graham with MSU minus 1,000 money line against Western, cough twice. 2, Johnny Kane and Tyler Alexander playing a game of Password in a Cleveland coffee shop on Tigers Live was fabulous. Reminded me of sitting in my car in 2011, smashing a sausage McGriddle and waiting for Planned Parenthood to open so my Harper's friend could get a Plan B pill.
So to number 2, I'm telling you, I think that one of the things about this Michigan State team is that, and if I had any comedic timing, I would have coughed twice when Jason did. But
betcha proof.
I just think their floor is going to be higher than some teams. Like, I don't think they're going to be at risk of an upset. And I don't know what Western. I haven't done the research into what kind of team Western's going to have this year.
Laying 1,000 to win 100, though.
That's 2009 Graham at its peak. And
I understand.
It's a good 100's 100 either way if you win. So,
is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm always careful of that because I did eventually get burned by that NIU Miami Ohio MAC championship game, but I had the $2,000 on it to win 200. But I think this is a team that in those sort of games, certainly Akron, but I don't know if there will be a money line on the Akron game because that's going to be a blowout.
So what about his number one? If you could undo 9/11, would you? He paused.
He's not. Of course.
You paused there. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
okay.
But I do. He's.
It's fine. We can go to the next one.
It would be. You know how
you don't want to undo 9/11?
That's not what I said.
Oh.
Of course I would undo 9/11. But it would be interesting. People always talk about my worst takes. It would be interesting to see what Ebling's worst hypotheticals of all time were.
Oh, Jesus.
Like if you went through all the things. I used to sit
Prayers to whoever had to go through all the backlogs to find out.
I used to sit on the other side of those. When I did the Monday show with him for 3 hours.
Keeps you on your toes.
It does. Because sometimes you got to think them through. You're like, well, wait a second. That is an interesting conundrum.
It's a 3-hour broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sports Guy 1919. Number one, welcome back. And two, been listening since November. Can confirm the best advice you have given is how to get the shower to take. Saved me yesterday after I ran outside and had to go to dinner 30 minutes after.
Appreciate you, sports guy. I'm telling you, it's for those who aren't aware. If especially if you're a bigger guy, if you're a sweater, if somebody who sweats a lot,
you're fat.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you don't need the shower to take. So say you have an hour for your lunch hour, but you go for a run or you do something, you're trying to get in shape, and you need to get, or you're going on a date or whatever it is, and you need to stop sweating. You get in the shower with it up at a pretty normal temperature, warm, and throughout the shower you slowly, incrementally make it colder to the point that the last minute and a half or so are freezing on your neck, lower back especially,
Why are you
and
acting
head.
like you crack the code on how to
And then you
keep
get
yourself
out
cool?
You get out with a fan right on you. It's not about keeping yourself cool. It's about getting in the shower to take. It's about not sweating right away when you get out of the shower if you haven't had time to stop sweating before you get in it. That it is one of the great mysteries of life.
So what you're saying is turn the hot water off, the scalding hot water that you have on you in the shower.
But I'm saying
Turn it to colder, and when you get out of the shower, you won't be as hot.
That's not enough. What I'm saying is you can't get in a cold shower because it screws up with your body. It screws your body up. You have to get in a warm shower and incrementally make it colder. Let your body adjust to it until you're freezing for the last minute and a half. Get out with a fan on you, and that'll do it. That'll do it.
Al up next. Number 1, Moneyball rocks. Kudos to Desmond and his team. 2, the Big Ten should have added Washington and Oregon. And 3, the ACC and Pac-10 will not exist by 2040.
It's a long time from now. I have no idea.
2040.
So, do you think? And I gave my hot take on this. Would you prefer the Big Ten to also now have Washington and Oregon?
I say whoever wants to join, bring it on. I mean, it's getting ridiculous already with 16. I mean, I don't think it matters to me. If I wake up tomorrow morning and they join, I'm like, all right, let's go.
And there are probably a lot of people who feel the same. As long as their world revolves around Michigan State more than the Big Ten. As long as Michigan State's part of it, there's still 7 home games a year. Their program's doing well. Who's on the Big Ten schedule, whether Washington and Oregon are in, doesn't make as a big a deal. And I can see that point of view as well.
MSU Stan. Number 1, MSU USC will be a rivalry trophy game. 2, autumn is the best season in Michigan, and there's no close second. And 3, public displays of affection are cringeworthy.
Where are you on public displays of affection?
I would love to get rid of all of them.
So you and Therese don't like make out in public?
No, Jesus, no.
Have you ever in your life made out with a woman in public?
Hell yeah. Dude, I've done more than that.
Okay.
In public, yeah.
What else have you done in public? No, I'm just kidding. Don't go beyond that. It's
all right, yeah. But no, I mean,
family
I
show.
just, listen, I'm not in public, parking spots and stuff, like parking ramps.
Is that what your thing was, parking ramps?
Oh, yeah. I mean, wasn't my thing. What do you mean? Was it my thing? I mean, it's happened once or twice, 7 times, something like that. I mean, but I'm saying, like, I don't really want to see people making out in front of me. I don't care who it is.
Right.
So let's get rid of all of it.
Are
we done with these or what?
MSU, USC will be a rivalry trophy. I do think Spartans Trojans will have some sort of rivalry trophy.
Why is that?
Because it just makes sense. They fit.
Oh, Spartans Trojans.
Yeah,
I get
it just fits. It just fits. Yeah.
Andrew Zawiza. Number 1, enough with it takes for 3 shitty Big Ten teams as protected rivals. Give me Michigan, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. Anytime we play a Rutgers, I'm just rooting to not to lose. With Michigan, Ohio State, and Wisconsin, it's harder to make the Big Ten title game, but not the playoff, especially once it's expanded. 2, Sky Mints will have a new customer sometime in the winter of 2024. And 3, speaking of Bill Walton, looking forward to how he'll spin the Conference of Champions.
I do want to listen to the first Bill Walton broadcast next year. And
sponsored by Sky Mint.
And I don't, it'd be interesting to see if he does UCLA and USC games when Big Ten teams are out there, if he's part of that TV package and what he calls the conference anymore. It'll be good. But yes, no, Sky Mint, we'll send him we'll send him a gift card or something to Sky Mint so he knows about it when he comes to town.
He'll never get it. Tony and the Ducks. Number 1, only one hot take on this fine weekend as I sit in a pool in Vegas. Strippers are the world's greatest salespeople while also being the greatest scammers. Yeah, it's the reason why I didn't go when we were in Vegas. I've just lost all my... We don't have a strip club sponsor yet, do we? No.
No.
I just have lost... I used to go when I was in high school when we were 17 and all that stuff, and it's just...
Well, and plus, you've had some incidents
great.
at strip clubs, to be fair, to the strippers.
Many.
I mean,
yeah.
You're not even allowed at certain strip clubs.
Oh, that was a
area.
long time ago. I actually went back to the VUA like a month after that. That's how addicted to strip clubs I was. It was sad.
And so,
but they are the greatest scammers for sure. But you don't want to sit there and have to hear, like, I know that you're available. Like, if I need a lap dance, I'll come to you. Like, these guys that get into, like, hour-long conversations and you talk about each other's life. Like, what the fuck? I'm here at a strip club. What are we doing? That's what I wanted to avoid.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Jarrett, number 1, Michigan State men's basketball will play the eventual national champion in November, or they will be it themselves. 2, Jeremy Fears will be the most exciting freshman point guard since Kalen Lucas. And 3, the offensive line for MSU will only have 1 injury this entire year.
These are three very optimistic takes.
Three.
That would be amazing for Michigan State if they can get. I mean, because I do think that MSU's offensive line, which is obviously still a question mark in the program as they develop, and I mean, it's the one thing that could, I think, hold them back, and is still lingering from the D'Antonio era. But I do think they've got enough talent, enough experience to put together a pretty good five out there. The problem is a lot of years you need a pretty good 8 to get through the year on the offensive line, and if you don't, you're in real trouble. So they get only one injury all year. I think it'll be a pretty good Michigan State football season. Jeremy Fears, I've watched a lot of video on him. It's so hard with freshmen, though, because especially freshman guards. Like if you watch Trey Holloman's YouTube videos, you think, wow, that guy is going to be incredible. And I don't know how much he's going to play at all as a freshman. I do think Fears is a notch up from that. I do think Fears will be somebody who contributes as a freshman. But I'm always, for as much as I'm over analyzing Moneyball, I'm always very cautious with freshman point guards.
Nick Palmer, number 1. I'm taking Zach Wilson with the first pick in my fantasy draft. 2, Tigers farm system isn't as strong as management says it is. And 3, visited Lansing for the first time in 3 years yesterday. Damn, it's changed, except for the fine meal at Midtown Brewing Company.
Appreciate you, Nick.
The Zach Wilson jokes, man.
Yeah.
Loved him all day long.
So I missed it. What happened with Zach Wilson?
He banged his mom's friend.
Is that what this is all about? Okay, I've seen all these things.
Oh, stop it. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Like you didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
You're telling me you scrolled through Twitter 50 times through both accounts and you didn't see the Zach Wilson story? Everybody and their brother was making a Zach Wilson joke.
I did a pretty good job these 2 weeks of staying off Twitter.
Oh, my
I was off more than I've ever been. I'm telling you. I mean,
you
I was
didn't hear
on
about
Twitter.
the Zach Wilson thing.
I did not. I missed it. I was listening to my wife.
So anyway, take my wife, please. Listen, Zach Wilson banged his mom, and that's it.
That's not true.
Or banged his mom's friend.
Yeah.
Oops.
To number 2, though, the Tigers farm system isn't as strong as management says it is.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I mean, I think they had a really strong farm system for a minute, but those guys have arrived. And it may still be okay here and there, but I don't. You look at the rankings of it. I don't think it's anything special.
Torkelson back down to AAA now, so he can figure stuff out.
Not great.
Yeah. Gavin Haas, number 1. MSU ceiling in football is 11-1. Floor is 7-5. 2. The Tigers will continuously suck until they're under new ownership. And 3. MSU football wears a new uniform combination every week of the season. Ooh, that's going to piss some people off.
Yeah. I am not a fan of that.
Multiple neon jerseys.
Ceiling 11-1, floor 7-5. I think that's probably about
a July take.
That's probably about right in July take. I think it's more likely to be closer to the floor, but I think that's a fair July take. Can they win under Avila? Or not under Avila, under Chris Ilitch? I believe they can, but they can't do it with the Ilitch-Avila combo. They need a different GM and somebody who's got enough gravitas that Ilitch kind of listens to him, and that's the only chance. You got to have somebody.
Like he did with the Red Wings, though. He hired Yzerman, right?
And he trusts Yzerman. He's not. But the thing about hockey,
does he trust Avila? That's the question.
The problem is in hockey, you have it's a league where they're like, man, this guy's getting paid and he's making like $2 million a year. Like nobody makes any money in hockey. Hockey's got this hard salary cap. If you overspend, you're screwed. Totally different financial model. So that's the difference. Chris Ilitch is built on an NHL team. There's like that salary cap's like $12 million, and you got to spread it out over like 34 players.
The Uper, number 1, updated MSU football tailgate times are still too complicated. Just let people park their cars the night before and let what happens happen. 2, you want fans to stay in the stadium the whole game? Alcohol isn't the answer. Try a gambling app that only works if your phone is inside the stadium.
But people just use a different app is the problem.
Yeah, like what is that app giving you that you're not getting?
Like you could have the Firekeepers. There's no way to keep the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app from working while you're in Spartan Stadium. Even if you wanted another app, that's the issue. Now you might be able to do, and you're not going to be able to keep your line off of other lines. It's. I'm not, and I don't think alcohols will ultimately going to keep people around because they'll cut off sales at the end of the third quarter or whatnot. People don't generally leave. Students leave, and if you want students to stay, I've always said, you give away free tuition, one a game, and you give it to everybody who was there at the beginning, but you got to be there to get it, because there's nothing worse than mom and dad finding out that you had free tuition for the semester covered, but you left the game to go to the bar early.
But then you have to pay your students to watch a whole football game. It's like, come on.
I'm just saying, if
It's sad.
this is the solution that works.
It might be a solution, but it's just sad. Sunshine Spartan. Number 1, 2 weeks off is unacceptable. My grass is to my knees. 2, the Tigers will re-sign Avila to another 3 years based on a 6-game winning streak. And 3, Spartans will win the Big Ten this year, lose in the championship game.
You know, that's something they haven't done yet, and that would be a weird.
So if we quit doing the show, you're never going to mow your yard again?
I do
That's a lot of pressure
understand.
on
No,
us.
but I do understand that. Like you have, I have podcasts I go to as a lawn mowing podcast,
Yes.
and so he's just
1000%.
basically saying, and I get that. He would find another podcast, and we don't want him to push him in that direction. You know what's sort of interesting is because the West never wins that Big Ten championship game. I guess Michigan State did lose the Big Ten championship to Wisconsin before it was, East and West. But you never even consider that anymore. You know what I mean? It's like if you win the East somehow, if you somehow get past Ohio State, you're going to be Big Ten champs. And to be that team and to lose it there, I mean, the West is used to it. I think it'd be a tough pill for an East team at this point.
But if his number 2 is true, or if it does happen, will Tiger fans revolt?
They're not. They're not.
I mean, I got to say, if they sign Avila to another 3 years of this,
Yeah.
I got to say, it's going to be tough. Hank Scorpio, July hot takes. Number 1, runners on the corners means guys at first and third, but it should mean bases loaded. Second base is also a corner on the diamond. 2, basketball courts need to be 6 inches wider, longer corner threes, fewer accidental step outs, shooters even more spread out for more offense. And 3, mimosas and Bloody Marys are very good breakfast drinks, but White Russians are the best way to start morning vacation drinking.
Are you a morning? Oh, you don't drink anymore. But were you a morning drinker?
I was an all-day drinker at the end.
Yes,
but I did when I could handle it. Day drinking was my favorite.
That's one of the best. We had a lake house up in Hessel, and which I had never heard of, by the way. But it's not far from St. Ignace. It's before you get to Lake Cedarville, and Cedarville kind of sucked. But Hessel it's cool, and it was right on Lake Huron. But it faced west, which was great. So you got the sunset and all that stuff. But I just wake up. You had nowhere to be. You had no one you had to answer to. You had nothing. You didn't have to get behind a wheel. And 11 a.m. it was Skymint and the brew, and you just started your day. You paddled out in a kayak, hope not to drown. It was.
Listen, you sound like a cool guy. Skymint and a brew.
I know it doesn't.
Am I right, boys?
Doesn't really work.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's not my strength. For sure.
Jeff Haddis, number 1, Pierre Brooks is exactly what MSU basketball fans needed this offseason. 2, Al Avila will drag this torch. What does this mean? Torture out for at least 2 more seasons. And 3, Couch. It's the middle of summer. Get off your ass and find Jeff Smoker.
Oh, I found him. Don't worry, I found him. Yeah.
All right. What does that mean?
Well, we'll see.
Story.
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
No promises, but
all right.
I certainly know of his whereabouts. By the way, mimosas, Bloody Marys, and White Russians, all that you can have all of that at brunch at Midtown Brewing Company. To the Pierre Brooks thing, I mean, I do think he has provided a level of intrigue, and that's something people needed the storyline to change a little bit this summer, right? It was people were frustrated. MSU basketball fans were frustrated, and I do think Hogarth hitting shots, Pierre Brooks looking like a different player, some of the hope around Jay Nakins. I think all that stuff is just good to give. I mean, if sports don't have hope, if you don't have hope for your team, none of this is any fun. So at the bare minimum, I mean, the hope you have to hope is that it's not false hope, but what's happening with Pierre Brooks creates a dynamic that I think is healthy.
Alan Pearlstein, number 1, can Moneyball Pierre Brooks translate into Big Ten play? 2, what do you think that the next season of the NFL ticket will be like when it leaves DirecTV after this season? And 3, can Coach Tucker and staff develop their recruits as well as Coach D'Antonio used to develop his recruits?
So I want to get into 2 here. with the Sunday Ticket, because you're a big Sunday Ticket guy, right?
Of course, yeah.
This is going to
isn't?
Well, this is going to get interesting though, because it's not just on DirecTV now. You can get it also on there's some other. You can get it on most cable packages. What's going to get interesting is it becomes more streamed. Is the delays and the live betting impact of that. That's what I don't think people think about that a lot. Like
but that happens now.
If you're streaming it, I guess. Yeah.
Because I stream it on the TV in the bedroom, which is a stream TV, cable in the living room.
So I don't think it'll be any different unless you got a streaming service that's slower and you like to live bet it. It'll still
live betting's so tough anyway, though. Even when we were in like a sports book, though, they were on a delay in there.
Yeah,
it's so tough to live bet.
And
you know what I mean? Like even on the tournament today, live betting, you try to maneuver around a little bit. Oh, it's off the board real quick.
Yeah, there are certain sports like soccer is easier to live bet because it's not like the scoring is changing or the downs. I knew you were going to go there. Anyway, yeah.
He watches baseball. Derek Spartan. Number 1, MSU will finish top 2 in the conference in football. 2, MSU won't miss Kenneth Walker as much as some may think. The kids from Colorado and Wisconsin will help lessen the blow. And 3, if Pierre Brooks is in the top 5 small forward in the Big Ten, MSU won't make the tournament. If he is, MSU is a Final Four contender.
It's a pretty big swing there. The Kenneth Walker thing, you won't know how much they really miss him because it's a different team overall. And I think that's the thing you got to remember. Like, it may seem like, because I do think Broussard and Berger are going to be fine backs. I think they'll be okay. But it's a different line. It should be a better quarterback. It should be better at the tight end position, which should change some things. Like, I don't know if we'll really understand. Now, if you were to take Kenneth Walker off last year's team, I think they're a 5-win team. I just don't know that we'll understand the impact because other dynamics within this team, including the defense, will be so different. But I think they'll be fine at running back. The question is whether they'll need – last year they needed a superstar running back, and they had one. And if they need one this year, you just don't know if that guy is there.
Kurt Wisniewski. Number 1, MSU football will dominate the Big Ten for the next 10 years. 2, the next GM for your Detroit Tigers will be Al Avila because Chris Ilitch sucks. And 3, the city of Detroit just accepts mediocrity for their professional sports teams.
See, I don't think that's true. I mean,
what are we supposed to do, though?
Right.
I mean, what, picket in front of the stadiums? I mean, obviously you can not go to the games, which I've chosen not to do. Am I a bad fan because I still watch Lions games? Maybe.
Yeah, and I don't think people accept it. I think people are frustrated, but you've only got so much control, and you're not going to leave your teams if they're truly your teams.
But if you want change, what do? Obviously, you boycott your team.
And the thing we have in this state that not every market has and not every fan has is we have college sports in Michigan and Michigan State that have been relevant and competitive in football and basketball, and almost everybody is a fan of one of the two, and they're able to sort of distract you in those 2 seasons, at least for a couple seasons, and at least give you part of the weekend that's decent, and like so there's that. But I don't know, and I would be interested, Kurt, to know why you think people accept mediocrity and what sort of anecdotal evidence you have of that, and then what the solution would be if you don't accept it.
Couch on fire. Number 1, wow, what an open finish, and Spieth for top 10 bet win. 2, I finally get a Tigers game here, and they lose 10-0. Sad times. 3, watch the ESPN special on the Red Wings-Colorado rivalry. Must-see TV. And bonus take, welcome back. We've missed you.
Appreciate you, Couch on Fire. I still haven't seen that documentary. I need to do it.
I haven't either.
Yeah, and I've been meaning to do it. Yeah, no.
I'd like to. I haven't been meaning to. I just haven't done it.
I feel good for you on the Spieth thing, though. If somebody comes in at the last second, gets a top. Yeah, that's
so happy for you.
That's a good feeling.
So great that you won a golf bet.
But if you win it, it is a great feeling. Like if that eagle had gotten you the win, you would have been just your whole hot takes would have been different today.
Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Is that your hot take?
No.
I mean, you had 2 on Pierre Brooks. Andrew Gauthier. Number 1, watching Rory put up a solid Sunday and still come up short was a bummer. Hope he gets another one soon. 2, Cam Smith, a.k.a. the Mangy Dog, had an extremely impressive Sunday at the Open, going 8 under. And 3, this was the best season of golf majors in years.
I think the year Tiger wins the Masters, just because of what that was, and I don't even remember what the other majors were, but I don't care. Like, that was awesome. 2 years.
That's
2019?
obviously going to blow it out of the water.
Right,
sure.
2019. That was.
But Cam Smith with a 30 on the back nine.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah,
his putter was sick.
No, it's pretty. It's been a good, and plus you get, you don't always get St. Andrews. Like, not. I mean, all the British Opens are picturesque courses and links courses and different, but St. Andrews is St. Andrews, right? It's
Question for you.
Yep.
Like, let's say 2 people wanted to go to St. Andrews, right? Not necessarily like let's say play. Like, how much would you have to spend to get over there, travel?
It's not that bad. Like, I'm going to England in several weeks.
Ooh, are you?
Yeah. By the way, we're gonna have another week and a half off the show. That's what I've said about it.
Blame Graham.
But it's like $1,000 flight. I think we're paying like $1,100 a piece, and then it's.
But to stay there, like what?
To stay in St. Andrews, that's a good question, because I think you can get in like a raffle, so you can play, and it's not like you have to be there, and if they call your name, you play. I think you can walk the course. I could be wrong on this. I think you can walk the course.
You can stare at it.
Easier than that too.
19 pounds.
I haven't really looked into it entirely, but yeah, you could do it reasonably. I mean, nothing's inexpensive, but you can be a middle class bloke and do that as a bucket list type thing, and get it done.
Ron Quixotes, number 1. Pro Football Focus has 6 Big Ten QBs in their top 50 list for 2022, and none are Peyton Thorne. WTF. 2, the British Open was great, but now we're in the worst 6-week period for sports on the calendar. And 3, biggest vacation pet peeve is people stopping to take pictures in the middle of walkways or obvious bottlenecks.
It's always a pet peeve. Although,
if they make it quick, I don't know.
And I get so checked out in on vacation that nothing bothers me. Like, I'm the guy who walks.
Yeah, you're off Twitter.
If I'm truly checked out,
free.
I walk into traffic. I mean, I'm not paying attention to anything. It's not.
What about Bob?
It's not great. It's sort of like that. It's I swim with the fishes. Ahoy. To the first one, and there's some others getting into this. So this list that had, first of all, this is the season of lists. Nobody knows shit. Nobody knows anything. And I think Peyton Thorne is, without a doubt, just given the number of returning quarterbacks and what he's shown he can be at its best, there's no way he's not a top, 35 starting quarterback in college football on any list that's respectable. And that's, so, whatever, it is what it is at the season of lists. It's just to get you to click, it's to get you to talk, and that's what they're doing. And if Peyton Thorne goes out there and has the year he ought to have as a second-year full-time starter, then he ought to be in the top, 10, 15 on that list.
Ryan Schultz, number 1, as the years go by, we'll be more and more grateful that State won the last pre-college football playoff Rose Bowl. 2, as someone who religiously watches MSU football in the late 2000s, instead of Western, I got to say that Javon Ringer, number 12 all-time, is way too high. And 3, Dark Knight is the best Batman movie, but Robert Pattinson is the best Batman. July take.
Appreciate the July take.
Have you heard about Pierre Brooks?
So the Javon Ringer bit, this is when I did the original top 50 football players countdown. I don't know if he's still 12. I can't remember.
Did you take a lot of grief?
I think he is 12 still. Yeah, you always do. But you're not. I mean, people see there's a lot of research that goes into it too. And I talk to a lot of people, and you're trying to, because there are a lot of guys who are of eras that I never saw, and you're talking to. I spent a lot of time not just talking to Ebling, but Blaha, and reading old books and trying to get a sense of the moment and the times. And it's imperfect, right? Because certain guys you see and certain guys you don't. And he's right to an extent. Like, Javon Ringer is a little bit of my blind spot of Michigan State football, in the sense that I was covering a different program and not watching every week. But I want, the reason he's number 12, and this is what I wrote. Ringer's 3,346 yards in his final 2 seasons, D'Antonio's first 2, set in motion the momentum MSU's program is still experiencing. And again, this is in 2015, so this is before that playoff year. He was an undersized back for his workload, but his unbelievable balance and power had unbelievable balance and power from his legs. The best stat to explain how special he was, his yards per carry. Ringer's 843 career rushes, came at a clip of 5.22 yards per attempt. Of MSU running backs with more than 250 career carries, only T.J. Duckett, now since Kenneth Walker, has been better over the last 30 years. Ringer was a massive and essential early piece in MSU's turnaround and ascension, and one of the most productive and durable backs ever to suit up in East Lansing. I mean, I again, but it is absolutely subjective, and I respect you disagreeing.
Spartan 18770. Number 1, stop giving an award for the lowest score of a golf scramble. We all know you guys lied about your score. 18 under my ass, you cocksuckers.
Whoa.
That's what it says here. 2, MSU football will win the Big Ten this year, and it will be on the backs of their defense. 3, this is Harbaugh's last year. Recruits don't trust him. The fan base resents how he's handling the quarterback situation, and he does not have the energy to recruit in this new college landscape. And bonus, Magic Johnson's hot take: groovy donuts are better when you share them with a friend.
Appreciate you, Spartan.
Hashtag donut.
Number 3, Harbaugh's last year. So at this point, I would not be surprised if any year was Harbaugh's last year. I also, to Graham Stout this, would not be surprised if he coached another 4 or 5. But I don't, I mean.
What's your ceiling?
But I mean, at this point, like if another job came up that he wanted, or he wanted to be, I just don't think people are enamored with him anymore there. They're happy they finally beat Ohio State. They're happy they won a Big Ten title. They're happy they got to the college football playoff. But I don't think are many Michigan fans who don't think they could do at least as well as Harbaugh in their next coach. Right? Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I think that Michigan fans are on the Harbaugh train because of what he did last year. I just think it would take some sort of terrible loss, a loss to Michigan State again, maybe getting embarrassed by Ohio State. I could see that scenario where Harbaugh could be his last year. But if he wins another 10 games, I think Michigan fans have – I mean, what else are you going to do? I think you can't get rid of a guy who's going to produce like he did last year.
I don't think he's
goofy as he is. He still wins football games.
I don't think he's going to get fired. I just think that he'll
mutually agree to leave, whatever you want to call it. But it's if you mutually part ways, it kind of means that you guys sour on each other.
You wear out your welcome or whatever. The other thing is that could change the dynamic is if Michigan State starts to finish with recruiting classes ranked higher than them.
Sure.
Because that will drive that fan base bonkers. Because that's one thing they've always had safely. And that
should be a record against Mel Tucker. Should be your first concern, though, right? But yes, if they start flipping recruiting classes, I could see that.
Yep.
Number 1, by the way, he's right. I've watched guys during scrambles cheat. Like when I see a guy post one somewhere, like, "Oh yeah, we had 22 under." Like, no, you didn't. You didn't. Really? 22 under, huh?
And I don't. What's the satisfaction? I mean, I guess there's a prize or free.
What do you mean the satisfaction of grabbing the trophy and knowing that you cheated your way to the top?
I just it's not as good as it was winning it for real.
Well, no shit, but you're a normal thinking person sometimes, and you wouldn't cheat to win a thing, you know.
Sometimes,
yeah. Put it on your Twitter profile. Get a trophy. Brett, number 1, summer really is overrated. Tigers are dog shit. Golf gets stale, and I only think about football being back. 2, mowing the lawn is ass. I'm pretty sure I've said I enjoy mowing, but my sinuses drain after the entire time I mow. 3, over under. Peyton Thorne, 250 passing yards per game average. Oh boy.
All right. Well, let me do some math. Give me some Hoff real quick.
Highway to the danger zone.
Sing it.
Right into the danger zone.
Missed this.
So
Heading into twilight.
So the question is, basically, is he going to get over 3,000 yards for the season, which is what that would come out to? And I tend to think it's under, because I tend to think even if I just think their offense is still going to be predicated on balance. And
what odds are you giving me though that it happens?
What would you like if I said? Well, hold on. Let me give you. Hold on. Give me some more.
Oh yeah, sure. Hear this again.
Highway to the danger zone. Right into the danger zone.
Voice of an angel.
Heading into twilight, spreading out our wings tonight.
All right. So if you go MSU's so last year. he just about averaged this. So he had 3,240. So he basically was at that mark last year. So he's going to go over it.
He'll do it.
Yeah, he's going to do it. I didn't realize he was over it last year. And Lewerke did it. Wow,
what a waste of time then.
Yeah, apologies.
All right. Minus 270 apparently. Mojo Jojo, number 1. Troy Weaver is a cool and confident dude from that video when Keegan Murray went to the Kings. Let's find a Major League Baseball version for the Tigers. 2, I'm surprised Eno Etta went to Michigan with a number of NFL guys on campus to train with Brandon Jordan. And 3, Graham, check out the Joe Pera talks with you. Great show, filmed in Marquette in 10-minute episodes.
I will. I appreciate the recommendation. Anything in Marquette, I will always check out. With recruiting, when there have been times where Michigan or has been, the hot sauce or whatever, and
what?
I don't know what does that.
The
that
hot sauce.
We'll fix that in post. That was awful. I don't know what that is. It's awful.
The bee's knees.
Yeah.
The hot sauce. What the fuck?
But you're always going to land some dudes. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. I don't know. Like just yeah. I mean, okay. I never said that. I don't know where I was going.
That's
I don't know.
the hot sauce. What?
That's the worst. It would be. I mean, to the number one point with Troy Weaver. Well, first of all, and it would be nice. I mean, Troy Weaver is making the difference between what the Pistons have and Tigers have. The contrast just so severe. He makes it worse in a lot of ways because you see a guy whose mind is working, who's doing things creatively, who's building a team, and then you see Avila. And so it's frustrating.
Hot sauce.
Troy Weaver.
Fart soup up next. Number 1, accidentally listening to this show at half speed is the greatest thing I've done all week. Sweet fuck. I thought Rube's edibles kicked in hard and wondered if I was going to have to call the EMTs for you guys. 2, half-speed Rube is the greatest version of Rube. 3, half-speed Graham, a bit concerning. The long 20-second pauses between thoughts. I legit thought he was having a stroke. And bonus take. This show is definitely best listened to at full speed.
Appreciate you, Fart Soup.
Appreciate you, Fart Soup. Bro. JD up next. Number 1, Graham ending his Twitter break after his doppelganger resigned as Prime Minister was as predictable as a Marvel movie having a post-credit scene. 2, MSU football's 2023 class will end up outside the top 20. And 3, despite 40 points from Drew Timme, MSU beats Gonzaga on the aircraft carrier.
And that game is actually happening now. Or
Drew
least...
Timme's in the NBA, isn't he?
No, he came back.
Jesus,
yeah.
fuck.
But that's the advantage
for his 8th year.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Yeah, the NBA doesn't see him as much of a player, so why not? Why not keep balling? The Twitter break thing, I did pretty well. I did better than I've ever done, so I'm actually proud of myself. But there's no question.
Comes back blazing.
There's no question.
Couch in the Rube login.
As soon as
get that picture of me throwing a football.
As soon as Boris was out, I was like, oh God, I gotta weigh in here. That's
I gotta weigh in here. Hot sauce. Gideon. Number 1, the Tour de France is the most underrated sporting event of the summer. Pretty exciting racing through quaint French villages and beautiful mountains. Jason's probably dozing off reading through this, but Graham might just be just European enough to like it. And 2, lower third base side are the best seats for a baseball game.
Tour de France, are you pro or against? Is there any moment in that where you're interested in it?
Even when Lance Armstrong was doing his one ball thing, you tune in, but I don't know what's going on. It's just dudes riding bikes. I mean, yeah, the scenery's great, but I don't give a shit.
I tune in for the
if you dig
the
it,
crashes.
cool. It's more yeah.
Tune in for the crashes and all that. And
what kind of stick shit is that though? Why would you want the guys to crash?
Well, I don't want them. I just see the highlights of crashes. So
you just watch the highlights,
right,
or lowlights,
whatever they are. But best seat for you if you're at a baseball game. Where are your chosen seats?
Man, I really don't mind anything. At Comerica, there's really not many bad seats in that low area. Obviously behind catcher, but yeah, I guess first base isn't bad too.
Third base, it depends on the park, right? Who's got the sun beating in their eyes sometimes, and behind home plate's always great. And I've been, when you get that, that's why I love going to see bad teams play because you can get really good seats. Like I remember going to an Orioles game once when they were horrible and sitting in the 4th row, and you're like, this is tremendous.
Right in the dugout.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, we're just happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Derek Maribin. Number one, MSU football is competing against legacy programs for recruits, and we are right up there with Bama, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. A year or two more, and we become the program every player wants to join. Nobody has the swag of Coach Tucker, and MSU culture of family is where it's at. 2, MSU Hoops will win the Big Ten. This team was a sleeping giant last year. Max Christie leaving will have zero impact. We are loaded.
By the way, you too can have what Derek's smoking. If you go to skymint.com, look up your location information, and look.
Why does weed get the blame?
I'm not saying it's the blame.
Really
Wouldn't
good
you want
thoughts
that?
on weed, though.
Those are great thoughts. This is the most positive. Yeah, what are you saying? Realistic?
Yeah, right. I thought that's what you were saying.
Okay. No, look, these are optimistic takes, but that's what we're asking for, hot takes here.
Yeah.
The idea that Michigan State basketball is loaded, I think what MSU has is they have more experience, certainly in their top 4 guys, top 4 or 5 guys than most teams have coming back in the Big Ten. And so from that standpoint, they've got a chance in a league that's going to be down a little bit, that I have no idea who's going to be good. And you could talk me into a couple different teams, but I think they have a chance to be a factor in the Big Ten. And if you told me Michigan State won the Big Ten this next year, this particular Big Ten, I wouldn't say you were off base. The thing is, I think this might also be one of those years where the Big Ten champion is a 4 seed. You know what I mean? There's not a 1 seed coming out of that league.
Jay Riemenschneider, number one, everyone, including you two, keeps saying anybody with a brain would have drafted Riley Green. But anybody with a brain would have drafted Jaden Ivey at that spot, too. There are lots of compare and contrast examples where Troy Weaver seems light years ahead of Avila, but that ain't one. What did we say wrong? 2, Graham. There are many worse arranged and composed songs than Lee Greenwood's endearing Proud to be an American.
Bullshit.
And 3, 2 weeks without that version of Highway to the Danger Zone is much too long.
Appreciate you, Jay.
She got you jumping off the deck and shoving into overdrive.
Latz was on IG. Did you tune into that Instagram?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I apparently did a good job.
You're right. I don't think that's what people think was brilliant by Weaver. They needed the Kings to take Keegan Murray for that to happen. I think it's more the way that the Duran situation played out, and that was a guy he was real high on, and the trading of the pick to the Blazers that wound up then being that 12th pick. It was not the 5th pick. I mean, it worked out really well, and good things happen to smart people, and I think that the Pistons aren't the dumb franchise not taking Jaden Ivey, and we'll see what Ivey is. Keegan Murray may be you talk to James Edwards, and he'll tell you he still thinks Keegan Murray could be a 20-point-a-game guy, and that's going to be a really good pick for the Kings. So I'm not, and Ivey, we still have no idea. But obviously, in terms of upside, I think that was the play.
But did we keep saying with anybody with a brain would have drafted Riley Green? I don't remember saying that. I mean, I don't know. But he was picked over 5th overall.
Yeah, although
when he was drafted, I didn't know anything about him. I'll be 100% honest.
Yeah,
right?
No, and yeah, but I don't think you get a ton of credit for that. But you should get some. I mean, if we're going to blame Avila for all of his failings, then what he does well, and Riley Green looks to be one of those things, we'll give him credit.
What about Casey Mize? We blame him for that?
I don't know. I don't know if either of their stories are written to the point. I'm not down on him, and there has been some bad luck. The problem is where I have an issue is acting like you've just signed the world when you re-signed Jonathan Scope. Acting like you've that Robbie Grossman is really an answer as a corner outfielder. I have problems with those sort of things. The decision with Baez at shortstop when you're in a non-salary cap world and Baez is barely a plus player. He's not really right now. So those are the things I have an issue with. And there was evidence that this was going to be there was evidence that Javi Baez was exactly who he is right now. And I can't wait for that contract to be over.
Already?
Yeah, I'm done.
Jesus. Bo McJunkins, number one, you shouldn't turn down commits or cancel visits of high-level recruits if you're going to come in second for other high-level guys. Take who wants to be here. 2, Izzo will realize by Game 5 it was a mistake to not get a portal center. Reviews of Maddie at Moneyball, not good. 3, David Jesse will write a story on Michigan closing down Grand Haven Beach for a high-priced event. Who's paying for it? Why is Michigan getting exclusive access to the beach when it's never been allowed before? Sounds like a FOIA suit, but probably nothing.
Let's go to number 2 here. And again, I've only seen Maddie play once.
Reviews
at
of
Moneyball.
Maddie?
I've only seen him play once in Moneyball. I didn't play the first week. And again, Moneyball is, we're trying not to overdo it, although we could argue that the Pierre Brooks,
a little overdoing it.
I think other than potential extreme foul trouble, that Matty Sissoko will be a serviceable big man in this Big Ten. But if I were, ultimately, you look at the Big Ten, other than Hunter Dickinson, and I'm missing somebody else. There's another big. Zach Edey, and there aren't that many bigs this year. It's not like it's been. You can run small, and I think that's the thing. I know that Joey Hauser wants to play with Malik Hall at the 3 and 4 and all that stuff, and if that works, that's great. But if Hauser's playing well, and your best 5 includes him and doesn't include any of your centers, I think you play small and make people adjust to you. I think you make 5s. The problem with Joey Hauser often is not, defensively he's obviously a below average center and he struggles against some people. But if he's actually hitting shots, if he's confident all year, he's a real problem on offense for centers who have to come out and get him. And so let that be a give and take. So what? He's going to give up a little bit, but he's also going to cause problems on the other end. I think you're okay with that, and I think MSU's best 5 could be pretty good. The question is, does it include one of the centers, and how often does MSU finish games with Hauser at the 5?
So what's his number 3 about? What's going on?
I don't really know. I've
renting
not
out a beach.
I've not paying a ton of attention, and I apologize.
Guys with big money get it shut down.
I've been checked out.
Little donation, Mr. Benjen. Number 1, I'd rather give myself an enema with your dick than fly again this summer. Canceled flights. Control towers shut down for COVID. Weather delays. Nobody to fly what few planes are operational. TSA, massive fuck-oundery. Overflowing planes. Fuck you all. Stay home. Man, there's 2 more. 2, in related news, fuck clams for being so happy. 3, Mike Farrell has Peyton Thorne as the number 30 quarterback nationally. He's definitely going to have a better year than number 29, Clemson's DJ Ugalele.
30 at least is more reasonable than not in the top 50. Yeah, the travel stuff, some people have had my sister just got back from Spain. She had 0 problems on the way out. I'm a little nervous about it in a couple weeks.
You'd rather give yourself an enema with one of our dicks and fly again?
For some people, I had some real nightmares this summer. It's been bad. I think it's an exaggeration, but it's been bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Molan Lobby Spartan. Number 1, laughing at Michigan picking up 3-star recruits while MSU gets 4 stars. But best remember how D'Antonio built a roster full of them to beat Michigan. Pride comes before the fall. 2, government mandating weight loss would be no different than COVID mandates, possibly more effective. See comorbidity. I was getting to it.
I know.
I was ramping up to it. See comorbidities.
There are some differences. It's easier to take a shot than to lose weight. It takes a little more discipline, but certainly we should be a healthier country.
Nah.
I also think that there is forever Michigan State, and this is the way it's always going to be. You're always going to celebrate the way you're winning over your rival. So forever Michigan State wasn't having the recruiting class of Michigan, but they were winning on the field year after year after year, and they were like, who cares that you're getting 4-star recruits? And again, Michigan State's won the last 2 on the field, so they can do this now. But you do have to remember that there was a point where Michigan State fans were quick to say that the stars didn't matter as much because they didn't in that matchup. But as long as Michigan State's also beating Michigan, they can say whatever they want.
Mr. Neurotic Pants. Number 1, the power brokers in big-time sports, be it Division I football or Major League Baseball, aren't truly accountable to anyone for their decisions. Fans have no vote. 2, she's a 10, but she lives in shithole Lansing. 3, in 20 years, the NCAA will expand into Canada and Major League Baseball into Latin America.
I don't see the Canadian system ever. I don't see Canada happening. And the reason Latin America probably won't happen is you got to get. I mean, the players really want to live down there and do enough of them, and maybe they do, but it's. I don't.
Do you have to live there though? You could
during
have a
the
place.
season, yeah.
You could have a place there, but you're not really living there year round. That's what I've never understood. It's like wherever you're playing, you don't have to.
It's also hot as sin down there in the summer. But these are hot takes. So, but I would think neither will happen.
Professor, number 1, there are too many Marvel movies and shows to this point. They have officially jumped the shark. 2, driving through Chicago is the worst travel in the Midwest. And 3, Peyton Thorne will be the best NFL quarterback of anyone in the Big Ten, but never special. Kirk Cousins redo.
So, yeah, if Peyton Thorne, though, right now could sign up to be Kirk Cousins for his NFL career, he should do it because that's,
no shit.
That's a great career.
He's made $8.4 billion.
Yeah, right. That's a great career. And Cousins has a frustrating ceiling for people, and he's a very average NFL starting quarterback. But he's still had a hell of a career. The idea that Peyton Thorne will be, I mean, that's the thing you don't know. Like this year for Thorne is going to be is fascinating because last year he had some really great moments, but very rarely when the running game was shut down was he great. He wasn't hardly ever, and he never showed that he could really carry a team without Walker. And I think he's a smart quarterback. I think he understands his faults when they're there. I think he adjusts to things well. I think he's pretty accurate. But the question now is, does he have that it factor? Is he a star? Can he, when things are going wrong, put a team on his back and drive them? Like, these are things we'll start to find out about him. And if he's going to be an NFL QB, he'll have some of that.
What about driving through Chicago? Worst travel in the Midwest? I mean, it's complete ass. We did it from Wisconsin, but
yeah, and I haven't done it this summer. It really depends on how bad the construction is and all that stuff too, and whether you can. Yeah, no, it's not ideal. And I knew something was going on when you leave Marquette. We were thinking about going straight to Chicago and coming around because my wife had to be in Chicago on Friday for a meeting. Instead, we looked at the Waze app, and it was like, this is going to take forever for some reason. So we went to Lansing, and she got up early the next day and went to Chicago from Lansing because I don't know what was going on.
What did you guys have for breakfast?
Yeah, another story almost worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company. Thank you.
Dark Mantonio. Number 1, USC is a top 5 all-time football program. UCLA top 5 all-time in basketball, but their fans don't care about them. They don't get big TV numbers, don't get big home crowds or traveling fans. Yes, they are giant brands in the number 2 media market, but I don't think they bring many eyeballs for the Big Ten. Number 2, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for USC to try to dominate the Pac-12, and because Oklahoma was going to the SEC and he didn't want that headache, now before he's even coached one game, he's soon to be headed for the Big Ten, which is something I know he didn't expect and can't love competition-wise. And 3, Pro Football Focus seems to be pretty good with their evaluations, but having Rattler over Stroud and Thorne outside the top 50 quarterbacks in the nation is absurd.
I agree with you on number 3 there.
Didn't Rattler get benched last year?
Yeah, and Stroud, I would consider Stroud a better prospect. Now, Stroud does have like first round pick NFL receivers all over the place and a lot of time, and so the thing I wanted to see was Stroud, and I think we finally did see this a little, and it didn't pan out that well for him in the Michigan game. Was pressure, right? What? So I mean, there's still questions with him. He's a young quarterback, like a lot of these guys. The Lincoln UCLA, UCLA is. I mean, they're just. First of all, UCLA's in a little bit of heat too with their state legislature and with Governor Gavin Newsom because apparently they did this without checking with their board of regents. And USC is a private school. UCLA is not. Like they can't just. They have like a board of trustees that operates for the entire state, Cal, Berkeley, all the UC Irvine, and they're not happy with them. I don't think it's going to screw things up, and I don't think it'll prevent them from coming to the Big Ten. But they're in a little bit of hot water here now. UCLA needed this financially. This was a USC-driven thing. UCLA is in debt. They needed this. They're in real trouble, and so their athletic department was in real shit. So Do you think Lincoln Riley would have done the same move had he known what was happening for USC going to the Big Ten?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, obviously the money would have been there, so maybe. But
you live in L.A. still, it's a little different life. And you got to take a lot of flights to the Midwest. I don't think that's a big deal. You're flying everywhere from Oklahoma.
And you go to
anywhere.
USC to compete with everyone, so it's kind of there could be a bring it on kind of Tom Izzo kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you're
anyone anywhere.
It's harder to make the playoff for sure in certain ways, but you might be in a league where there's sometimes 2 playoff spots now. So who knows?
Plus size softball dad. Number 1, I bet Zach Wilson's mom's best friend is a lot like Hamp Faye's mom. 2, enjoyed hearing the love for Maine on the last show. Moved here when I was 28. Wish I would have done it sooner. I also wish people here played euchre. And 3, summer is ass. I'm not built for this.
There are a lot of days where I feel that way. That's the other thing about Marquette. Maine has some of that too. Is it was like 61 degrees. There was one day I'm riding a bike and climbed a mountain in the same day. 6 miles on a bike and climbed Sugarloaf Mountain later on. Barely broke a sweat. Wearing a long sleeve shirt. 61 degrees. Just that's how summer should be. Sunny and 61. Absolutely fucking perfect.
Mark. European club football, the Bundesliga, returned.
The Bundesliga
returned before the couch in the room did.
They did, yes.
But both are ass. McHammer Legos. Number 1, Carmen Electra.
That was editorial by Jason, by the way, the ass part.
Yeah. McHammer Legos. Number 1, Carmen Electra's OnlyFans is fire, and Jason will never know the joy. Bro. Log in. What happened? Let me know what's going on. 2, getting a parking ticket for 2-hour parking being 5 minutes late is atrocious.
It is ass. I do feel like there ought to be some sort of
yeah, but it's not 2-hour, 5-minute parking though.
Right.
I mean, when do you cut it off? Then after 2 hours, 5 minutes, and then oh man, I could use 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Right, but maybe the ticket is as much. You see, it's like or you get a warning ticket that they saw. I don't know. It seems like ass.
Yeah. Treese. I'm defending parking tickets. What the fuck is this? Treese. Time off. Highlights. Number 1, golfed at a course so fancy the cart shuts off if you are in a restricted area, which I was in a couple times. 2, Wisconsin cheese curds are so good paired with Sky Mint. And 3, had our first married argument when I refused to dress up like TC, Jason is Magnum PI, for an 80s themed tournament.
Wait, what is TC?
Matt, you've never seen Magnum PI?
I have, but I can't.
TC was like his right-hand
man.
Yeah,
yeah,
was
okay,
dressed
yeah,
up like tan,
gotcha,
like he was
gotcha.
wearing, he was like an older guy. And I figured well, she wants to dress up at this 80s themed tournament, right? And I'm like, okay, this is going to be ass. But then if we're going to do it, then I want to dress up what I want to be. So why not? She can't dress up like TC.
Why wouldn't she do it?
Because she wants to go as 2 double Magnum PIs. I'm like, that's not funny. I'm like, you're short. You take off your makeup, you put your ponytail back, and you wear some, She's like, no one's going to know who I am. I'm like, that's not the point.
If these are the types of argument you have for your life, though, you're going to have a good marriage. You're going to have a good marriage. It's going to be
right.
It's
well, there's a reason why I married her. That wasn't even like an argument.
So these fancy golf carts. How often were you in the restricted area?
Yes, and it was her dad is a member at Geneva National in Wisconsin. So I'm already trying to. He was golfing with us with his friend, who was worth $500 million, by the way.
Holy crap.
Yeah, he didn't announce it, but we found out. I mean, of course, I was told after because he was like, oh, yeah, we live down the street. He has like 14 houses or something. He's like, in L.A., we live down the street. She's married to Portia Ellen. I'm like, what? Fucking Ellen? I'm like, how much money? I'm like, he went to the bathroom. I looked at the team. I'm like, how much money does this motherfucker have? Like, Ellen? Anyway, so yes, there was restricted areas. And for my white trash self, because I'm used to golfing at courses that let you cut off the sleeves of your T-shirt. I'm used to driving right up to the greens and like the tee box and stuff, but I do know golf etiquette somewhat. But there was a video screen that actually shows you, which was even more embarrassing, of the restricted areas that are highlighted by dots. So as we were driving, all of a sudden the cart completely shuts off. Like you go up to the green, and I'm like, because you forget the Sky Mint was hitting, and I'm just all of a sudden it goes beep and like put it in reverse. Like holy shit. So I mean, because you want to impress your wife's dad and all that stuff. So anyway, but yeah, it was one of the nicest courses I've ever golfed.
I didn't know you were rubbing elbows with such high rollers, man.
Listen, it's because it's my wife's dad's friend. My father-in-law's best friend. So
that is a story worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company. You want to impress your significant other. Midtown Brewing Company, a great date place. unbelievable character to it, good vibe, just chill, good outdoor patio area if you want to eat out there as well. And great drink selection, outstanding menu. Go to midtownbrewing.net to check that out.
And by the way, after the round as well, the $500 million guy was like, "Oh yeah, you guys want to join us? We can we'll grab a drink and an appetizer." So we go up there and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll buy a round." And then I found out he's worth $500 million, and I was just like, afterwards, I'm like, man, he was only going to buy one round. I'm just saying. Anyway, Cucker Tarlson, number 1, the best Tiger is Curtis Granderson. 2, UFC fighters are the most elite athletes in the world. And 3, the Pentaverte was a great show. Y'all should watch if you haven't. Mike Myers is the GOAT. And bonus, Carmen Electra on Baywatch was a 1990s perfect 10. Today, she'd be an 8.5. Sorry, Graham and Jason. What? Bonus. I wish international diplomacy was still settled by boxing matches.
So, okay, UFC fighters, most elite athletes in the world.
I mean, sure. I would
they're
say
up
if they
there.
were around, I don't want my ass kicked.
Yeah, they're up there. I mean, they're certainly among the toughest and most
It's crazy.
brave.
Yeah, you're walking into a cage and fighting in front of a bunch of people, possibly to death.
Yeah, and there are a lot of. I mean, there are a lot of sports that you can argue would have the best athletes in the world, but I wouldn't tell a UFC fighter to their face that they weren't it.
You know what? I think UFC pound for pound is the most overrated sport.
Donuts.
I like donuts. But today, wait, Carmen Electra, 1990s Carmen Electra today would be an 8.5.
I don't know, man.
No, malarkey.
I think your box of tissues says otherwise.
My Maxim magazines that are bricks.
The best Tiger is Curtis Granderson. First of all, one of the nicest people I've ever met or interviewed. He was always I was like the backup Tigers beat guy in 2008
So is he the Matt Shepard of baseball players? And he's just a really nice guy. And
no,
he's don't get me wrong, a great baseball player, but
better interview. I mean, he was
right. But your favorite Tiger of all time?
No, I wouldn't say that. He was of somebody that I covered that year. I covered them 1 year.
Not you. I was talking about.
Oh, I don't know. Who would your favorite Tiger be of all time?
I mean, Trammell and Whitaker, obviously. I mean, both of them were like a staple. I mean, Norm Cash. I like Norm Cash. But, I mean.
To me, it's Cecil Fielder just because of the age I was when he hit 50. Like, that was like a big.
Yeah, but did he win anything? I mean.
No, but when I was like 10 years old, that was like awesome.
True. Tyrone Couch, number 1, and Lansing Sexton changing its mascot is another travesty. Luckily, I think we can pool our money together to bribe them into the Sexton Tennis Terminators in honor of Graham.
Thank you.
2, the only thing that happens quicker than an MSU or Michigan fan panicking over recruiting is asparagus per insane.
I don't know what was going on, so I thought.
Did
maybe
you just type
understand.
3 words and just hope I would figure it out?
I just put in what he had and said, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
MSU or Michigan fan panicking over recruiting is asparagus per insane.
I don't.
I'm not even finished.
Autocorrect happened somewhere in there.
I'm not even finished eating my meal, and both things are already happening. 3, MSU name, image, and likeness programs will keep them in the game for double-digit wins most years and occasional conference titles. But without checks like Tennessee, Miami, etc., national championships will be very difficult to achieve. And everyone's favorite bonus. To answer the age-old question, Marcellus Wallace does not look like a bitch. Not even when Ving Rhames grows his Steve Harvey mustache, would I assume I could say he did. It's been a long few weeks, guys.
We appreciate you, Tyrone. The NIL thing is sort of interesting because what's going to be fascinating is there are going to be teams that are able to pay their players a ton. Some are paying their recruits a ton. It's going to be divvied up in different ways for different programs. And how it all plays out and how it plays out in locker rooms. I've said I'm not sure if I'm a coach right now of a major program that even if I'm losing a few recruits, if what they're concerned most about is the signing bonus sort of thing through an NIL collective and the money, I'm not sure I want that. Because what you have to figure out is the 3-star who doesn't get shit but signs with your program but becomes a star in your program, how do you make that guy whole compared to the dipshit 5-star who never becomes anything? And what does that do in the locker room? I think those programs are going to fall apart. I think there can be real issues there. I think NIL and recruiting is a dangerous space for teams. Not just, I mean, it's just for team continuity for community and I I'm very curious to watch how this plays out and whether a place like Michigan State or any school that chooses not to be heavily in the how they're paying players in the recruiting process, whether they can truly compete.
Jason Akins, number 1, I can provide no meaningful insight on anything current.
Thank you for your honesty, Jason.
He took mine. That was going to be my first one. 2, can we start football season already? And 3, you know the name, but do you know the person? Buy my buddy's book on Bronco Nagurski.
Appreciate the plug. And he by the way, he posted a link to it on the Twitter thing on his tweet. So,
all right, Hans Jurgent, number 1, I thought you guys retired. 2, I tried to get away without flattening my boxes at any local recycling center, and a bunch of dudes jumped me, dragged me into a cornfield, and beat me within an inch of my life. I think I have neurological damage. That explains it then. 3, why isn't MSU playing in these endless women's softball games on ESPN? Throw me a bone. And bonus, live betting on ball strikes and putting the ball in play still doesn't make Major League Baseball interesting. $10 beers at the ballpark blows too. How about the $5 water?
It's usually more than that sometimes
Kicking
too.
a dick.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
Like, why don't you just pour it on my head? Let's cut the shit.
And I really think and I'm sure they've done the math, but like Atlanta has done the math too. Arthur Blank, and they have like affordable concessions at games for
Costco's done the math. They have $1.50 hot dogs.
Yeah,
it's been the same because they know they're making money hand over fist.
And you buy more if you can afford. I don't know. And you get more different types of people to the park. I question the finances. Some of the people think that $8 water and $12 beers really is the way to go.
I mean, it's a way to kick someone in the balls without doing it, right?
That's true.
You're walking around with a water. It's embarrassing. Jake Hawkins, number 1, I know Mel Tucker is different with his approach, coaching, recruiting, and will eventually get things running, but it still sucks when certain high school recruits not only commit. High-level recruits not only commit, then decommit, but also pick other top-notch programs with ridiculously loaded rosters. 2, last Sunday, it felt so damn good to be back at a concert for the first time in 2 years, and I'm glad it was an opportunity to see Joan Jett, Poison, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue in concert. Everyone did a damn good job, despite the deterioration of Vince Neil. 3, can't wait till football is back.
Neither can we, Jake. Neither can we.
8 Sundays from now.
Man, that's going to be
NFL
something.
Week 1.
I'm fired up for that first Sunday night show after there's actual football to talk about. Yeah, that'll be good.
Instead, till then, Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
More Pierre Brooks.
Who's your favorite baseball player of all time? Give us a call.
We appreciate all of you and all of your hot takes. Some really good stuff, despite the time of summer, and we enjoy some of the off the wall stuff as well. We're glad to be back. And we'll be back. I believe we'll tweet this stuff out, but I believe Tuesday night and Wednesday night this week. It's probably news to Jason, but
oh Jesus,
we'll talk about it later. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. Go to midtownbrewing.net to check out their menu, their drink selection. Fantastic stuff. 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing, and also thanks to Skymint. Go to skymint.com. Swing by a Skymint. They'll treat you well. They'll get you on your way. They'll lead you on your cannabis journey like they have for the Rube and I. Have a great night. Couch and the Rube. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.